Okay, so in this video, we're continuing with derivative rules, and we're talking about the derivative of exponential functions. And in the last video, I showed you that if y equals e to the x, then dy dx is also equal to e to the x. Or if f of x equals e to the x, then f prime of x is equal to e to the x. And so basically the whole point of this function y equals e to the x, the whole point of it has to do with calculus, and it's that this is the function whose derivative is itself. So the derivative of this function is that function. Okay, so that's why we're going to be hitting on this a lot. And basically at this point in time, if I was going to just sort of move on to other things, this would be pretty boring. So let me just do one other thing, and then we're going to come back. Okay, so then how about y equals 5 to the x? All right. Now, way back in one of my earlier videos, when I was talking about exponential functions and log functions, and this is something you should have gotten in pre-calculus, I said that I can write 5 as e to the ln 5. Well, why am I going to want to write 5 equals e to the ln 5? Okay, well, the reason why we're going to do that is because I'm going to say that I can write y equals 5 to the x. I can write that as e to the ln 5 to the x. And I can write that as e to the ln 5 times x. And I'm going to say that the derivative of that, y prime, is equal, and I'm deliberately messing around with the notation. So some of you guys are going to say, why does he keep jumping around with the notation? He's got y, and then he's got dy dx, he's got f of x, he's got f prime of x, he goes y, then he goes y prime. Why is he jumping around? I'm jumping around because I want you to get used to different notation. They all mean the same thing. This is going to be ln 5 times e to the ln 5x. Or it's going to be ln 5 times 5 to the x. So y equals a to the x. The derivative of that is equal to ln a times a to the x. Okay, so we need to know something. To have fun here, we need to know something that the book isn't going to cover for a couple of sections, and that's the chain rule. I really, really, really need chain rule. And a lot of you guys can sort of see the chain rule, and I just want to... it's tied into a whole bunch of other things, and it's hard for me to say which one comes first, but we're going to do chain rule. Okay, so how am I going to write this out? I'm going to say that if y equals f of g of x, then y prime is equal to g prime of x times f prime of g of x. That's a lot of theory in there, and I want to give you some examples. Practical. This is all about practical. So suppose I've got y equals e to the x squared. The way that I'm going to use chain rule on this is I'm going to say u equals x squared, and then I'm going to say that y equals e to the u let me just repeat this so that it's all on the same line. So y equals e to the u, and u equals x squared. And then here, I'm not going to say dy dx. I'm going to say dy du is equal to e to the u. And then I'm going to say du dx is equal to 2x. And then I'm going to say dy dx is going to equal du dx times dy du. My du's are going to cancel out, right? Du dx is 2x. dy du is e to the x squared. Okay, so I feel pretty comfortable introducing the chain rule with exponents, because the whole point of this e thing, is to make our lives simpler, and it makes it so simple that it's a pretty easy place to see how you can use things like chain rule. So let's give a couple of other examples. E to the 5x. Then dy dx is going to equal e to the 5x times the derivative of 5x. The derivative of 5x is 5. We're going to do y equals e to the x cubed plus 8x. dy dx is going to equal to e to the x cubed plus 8x times the derivative of x cubed plus 8x, which is going to be 3x squared plus 8. And so then we already had this one. Y equals e to the ln 5 times x is going to be ln 5 times e to the ln 5 times x, and I can rewrite that as 5 to the x. So that gives me my log rule there. Okay, one other thing that we're just going to do, I'm going to bring it up in a little bit, but I might as well bring it out right now. We've looked at that before. So the derivative of sine x is cosine x. And then you have e to the sine x. Okay, so then that's sort of my little exponential thing, and then we're going to go on and we're going to do more chain rule in the next video.